All right. So, what's up? I'm Matt. That's also Matt. And we're just going to do a quick prediction show for WrestleMania Night 1. Kind of rushed, so bear with us. But we're going to keep it fast. We're going to keep this short. This is going to probably be a podcast in the future that also shows up on Spotify, but I don't have time to put it up there today. We'll probably do a separate one for Night 2 tomorrow when we have more time. Saturdays are just busy. And we're just going to roll into this and keep this short and sweet. So, as we watched the kickoff show. Anywho, we're gonna start this off. Do you have any preference where you want to start, Matt?
Um, I kind of think with what you sent me here for just showing the main card, just kind of like start at the bottom, either with
Left
the
or right? Pick a side.
um. I think left to right and working upwards, left to right, all the way to the top is just fine.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with the War Raiders and New Day.
Yep.
All right. You want to go first? Or should I?
I'll go ahead and go first. I'm really kind of thinking the War Raiders retain.
Okay.
I think they're trying to actually prove them as a tag team with some worth. So I think the New Day's essentially there to make them look good in a sense and just give them some of that extra shine.
Okay. I'm gonna jump in and say I think of the War Raiders as a established team that's been around for a long time and proven themselves on many different platforms in many different countries. I feel like if you're trying to build New Day as a reliable heel, I think you actually had to get the belts to New Day. So I'm kind of leaning towards New Day on that one to win it
Oh, cool. We
because I think,
split the idea on that
yeah,
one.
I think War Raiders are kind of over as a team. I think people do like them. I think that this is probably one of their better moments in WWE. What's a better way to get New Day booed even more than have them beat them now?
Fair enough. Yeah, I kind of really thought like in a way it can go either way, but I
That
just
one
kind of
isn't.
started to settle on War Raiders in my mind.
That one I could see being a coin flip. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh. So then we got what is it? El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
Where where's your mind at on that
I'll
one?
start this one off since you started the last one off.
Uh,
I think there's absolutely no reason for Rey Mysterio to win this match. I think you're giving Rey a WrestleMania match as a bump because he's Rey Mysterio, and you let Americano over here get the win, become a bigger heel, and continue insulting the whole luchador history one day
yeah,
at a time.
you keep the supposed mystery going. I'm right there with you. I think you give it to Americano just to like really prod everyone more with that
I think
and
eventually this
frustrate
builds to the
everyone.
Ray Phoenix feud, though. So, and then
That makes
Phoenix smacks
sense.
him down.
That makes sense.
There could be some outside interference. I think you'll see Ray in this. You'll see Phoenix in this match. I should say. I think you'll see the Creed brothers show up. I think they all kind of get in there, but I think with all that confusion, Americano wins.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, we're gonna jump back to the left side of the match card we got, which I posted two of mine and another friend of ours that's not Ben on our picks on Twitter or X. Excuse me. But that takes us to the U.S. Championship match. We got Fatu versus LA Knight. Um, you want to kick this one off?
Sure. I've kind of talked about this like theory in my head. It might be just absolutely wrong, but it's just how I'm kind of just thinking where I almost think Fatu's gonna win this. I'm kind of convinced that they want to put a title on him because I mean he's been doing a lot of work this last year, looking really strong, and I think he's deserved to get a title put on him. Um, I had probably spoken previously on some of our streams where I'm thinking like LA Knight might drop that and move up, and then you've had the counterpoint like, well, if he drops the title, I almost imagine he stays there, or almost like moves down in the mid card, like he almost kind of stays put. Or my mind sense is like, well, they need more people going up to the higher belts and mixing it up more. So that's where my mind went with that. So Yeah, I'm still thinking Fatu. It's kind of my old thought. I haven't really changed my theory on that. I'm kind of sticking with it.
That's fair. Yeah. See, I love LA Knight. He's had so many opportunities. He's been over for like years at this point. He was huge
Mhm.
SummerSlam in Detroit, for crying out loud. So my problem is I feel like if they were gonna do something with him, they would have by now. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm on the fence here because I'm with you in the thought that Fatu seems like someone they want to push. They want good things to happen for Fatu, and it's a mix. I'm a mixed promotion on this one because you can give a belt to Fatu and prop him up as a champion, but I don't know if the U.S. title, like how, what's the where do they want him to be right now? Is my question. Is the U.S. title too low for where they want Fatu to be right now?
Well,
Um,
remember that's always what they did with the guys that were coming up in the '90s. Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold. They all gave them like either the U.S. title or the Intercontinental title to take that one first
right,
to
but they
work
didn't.
up the ladder.
But Fatu wasn't back then. You came into the WWE, and that's the only thing people saw you from. Like they maybe you
Gotcha.
saw a little bit of somebody from ECW or here or there, depending on what year you were in, technically. But now Fatu has a history. They've seen the matches Fatu has put on with people and stuff like that. If they want to, now WWE still does that thing where their history is the only history that matters, and we don't talk about other stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I have in my card, in my selection, I have Fatu winning. I do think they're going to put the belt on him, but I almost feel like it's better for Fatu to move on without this belt. So maybe a solo interference or something like that happens along the way that causes this to somehow let
Like
LA Knight
start a feud
retain.
between them.
Yeah, and Fatu, and then maybe a solo feud. Uh, but if I'm keeping it pretty straight and narrow on this pick here and not throwing in some crazy wild card type of stuff, I guess Fatu wins this, but it should be a good match.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely assume it's going to be a great match. Could be one of the ones that steals the show for night one.
I could see that. Who started this off, me or you?
I started this one off, so you'd be the next one with Naomi and Jade.
Yeah. Whew, what a feud. It's been fun since she's come back. Uh,
This one seems difficult to predict.
yes, I just don't know if they want to rebuild Jade's character from the ground up. Is my issue. I have Jade winning this, and the hard part for me is that if Jade comes in and loses a clean match to Naomi, I don't know what that does for Jade. Naomi can take a loss, come back. She's established. She's done this. She's a tag champ multi-time at this point. She's done this. She's done that. If they want Jade to be built as the powerhouse that she is, they eventually have to they have to build her up. They already set her aside for a little bit, let her work on her craft a little bit, and brought her back. So if they really want to make an impact, I think she wins tonight, and that's kind of where I'm leaning with this: is that she'll win purely because I mean she is a genetic freak. She has like she's Storm from the X Men. It's like she is that.
Yeah.
That's what she is. And then Naomi can lose, but also come back on Raw or whatever. Are they on SmackDown or Raw? They're on SmackDown. Come back on SmackDown and interfere or go back after Bianca. Whatever happens, there's plenty of opportunities for her to do her thing. But I think Jade comes in and gets the win and looks the part of Storm essentially.
Yeah, for me, I'm also thinking Jade. I do have, that little thought where it's just like, it might actually be Naomi winning it, and just like, uh, pulling that whole thing where it's just like almost that person you just can't catch, like you just can't beat them. They sneak out a win
Oh yeah,
in
I
some
think if she's
sneaky
gonna
way.
win, she's gonna sneak out the win. It won't be like
Yeah,
a devastating finisher it's gonna be a roll up, or something like that. Oh no, a roll up.
but with how they've been portraying
Callback.
it, where yeah, yeah, oh no, a roll up,
Yep.
yeah, that, um, with how they've been portraying Jade, just not really been able to really get her hands on Naomi. She's always kind of sneaking off, or she's getting her hands on her, and then she kind of like gets away. Until kind of recently, there's been a little bit more, like Jade kind of catching her, like it's getting close. It's WrestleMania time to finally have that
Right.
match. So that's kind of where I'm going with, like, this is finally Jade or Naomi getting her comeuppance from Jade, where that's where I'm thinking ultimately Jade's gonna win this, and just like I think it's gonna be a good match. It's just I think Jade's gonna just bring a bit of a pounding.
Yeah, I think there will be that. I think that you're going to see a bunch of attempted like roll ups and quick wins by Naomi to get the win. Um, you know, Naomi could steal the win here and run off as a way to justify her actions. Like, see, I'm better than her. Bianca should have been happy that I was her partner. Look, I beat her at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
If she wins, I do think that's an angle they're going to go with, and I do think that makes a lot of sense. So, but again, if she wins, I think Jade looks dominant and Naomi just steals it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the next one that's lined up on here is Jay and Gunther.
Yep.
I've really not changed my opinion on this ever since coming up to the Royal Rumble and thinking Jay was gonna get the Royal Rumble, because I mean he was very over like he is now with the Yeet chants and that, just all that. I don't see how they don't give this to Jay here and now, where he was this like red hot at last WrestleMania, but wasn't up for the big title, and now he's spent a year cultivating like even more, like just amped up, like want to see their guy win this.
Did you already forget though the blue balls that the WWE gave us for Cody? Like how long it took Cody to actually get over the hump to win that belt? Every pay-per-view would pass, and every pay-per-view everyone would be like, they've missed the opportunity. They've missed the opportunity. They've missed the opportunity.
Wasn't that during the McMahon era?
No, I think he was still with
Vince. I think Vince was.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least for a good chunk of it, he was.
I thought where they finally decided to put the belt on Cody last year was the transition into the Triple H era.
Triple H, I think, was in charge well before WrestleMania, but Vince may have been in charge still technically, even though they said he wasn't, but he was, because TKO's merger happened already at that point.
Yeah. I think if anything, he was getting whispers in his ear, like, do this, and Triple H probably being unsure of, is Vince going to be back or not? I better listen to Vince. Yeah, until he knew Vince is out. He's been ousted completely, and that's where Triple H is able to just go like, all right, well, I'm running this thing, and I got the ball, and I'm going with it.
It was every pay-per-view. It was SummerSlam. It was every major one. It was,
I get it, but I really think that was all because of Vince McMahon. That's my opinion.
Okay.
That's my thought on it. So that's why I'm thinking, like, if I don't know if they don't do it.
Good.
It is that thing where it's like, if they don't do it now, it's just like you really have a chance of just cooling this thing off, and it just, doesn't have the steam when it comes around to WrestleMania season next year.
Right. So, right.
Anyways, what's your thought on it?
I'm the same. He's gonna win.
Change? All that just to be like, oh yeah, I'm with you. Let's just play devil's advocate.
I just wanted to point out the fact. In fact, my own argument is the point I'm going to make here is that this is very similar to the playbook for Cody. They ran a 2-year thing where you're like, this guy cannot get any more over. He's so hot. The crowd loves him. The amount of people yeeting with yeeting shirts or frosted yeets in the crowd is going to be ridiculous.
I got to buy my frosted yeets.
So, I mean,
they're up at the WWE shop. If you want some frosted yeets, you better get them.
They're on there finally. They weren't there yesterday when they were showing them on the video package, but they're there now. Got to buy them box of 2s though. But anyway, so yeah, I'm 100% with you on this one. I think Gunther gets the cool down a little bit, and I think we'll see him show back up. I think he ain't going anywhere out of the picture in terms of like stardom, unless he takes a slight vacation, because he's also very, very good right now, and one of the better heels that in WWE. But I do think it's time for that feel good story where they put the belt finally on Jay.
Partly why I believe this is because what I'm predicting for Sunday night, which we'll do a whole nother video for that, but I'm really kind of thinking Cena's gonna get that win. So I'm thinking you get the big happy Yeet Fest tonight, and then
Right.
Sunday night you get the down note.
Well, because I don't think we're gonna have time to do a second one. This could be its own podcast. And would be typically, we would do a quick video on just this topic. I want to start doing that. I want to do like 15, 20-minute topics, podcasts on just individual topics, as opposed, because we get too long-winded and lose track of stuff. But because we're right here, right now, what is your thought on the 20 steps ahead? Jay enters number 20. He's going to turn. He's going to be the Rock's guy. The Rock's going to have 2 champions.
Oh, the thought of Jay being the Rock's guy. Man, it's a possibility. The theory is very interesting to me, but I just don't see them doing that right now because he is so good with the kids, and you're losing Cena for good. And with what Cody might be doing, like, I don't know if he's going to end up taking a break. I know he's not really wanting to wrestle for a lot of more years.
That's why I don't know if he's going to want a break, but you're right.
Yeah, so I'm seeing it where they're building Jay, and they already see it with Jay, where he's really good with the kids, like Cena was, like Cody is now, and they're just getting another guy lined up for that, and to immediately turn them to like the heel kind of faction of under the Rock's wing that Cena went to, that Cody denied going to. I think it kind of just ruins it.
It definitely leaves with a massive story behind it, though. I'll give him that. Especially if Cody finds a way to win. If Cody finds a way to win somehow, it still gives Rock a champion. So
yeah, but I don't like that idea of the story. Then, like, it's either like you get both of them, or then why turn Jay? It just I don't.
Well, if Cody somehow finds a way to defeat all odds yet again, which I don't see happening, it does give the Rock a champion, and he does have his many steps ahead nonsense like he always says he is. That's contingency plan, plan B.
What do you do then? Champion versus champions? Now Jay versus Cody at like SummerSlam or something?
We'll see. At that point, I think what you get is John coming back to the good side again. And John winning. I can't imagine John's going to end his career as a heel. And then John comes back and he actually topples the bad guy. It's a bit of a long shot. I agree with you. I don't think he's turning, but I think if there was a reason or why he would turn, I think that's what would happen. I think if Uso does turn, Cena beats Uso at some point, and The Rock, essentially, that whole faction as a unit. He pulls the Cody storyline out as Super Cena again and leaves that way. That's a long shot. I'm still thinking with you. I'm right there with you that Jay's not going to be the heel turn here, but if they're right, I think it sets up for Cena to beat Jay.
That's a hell of a theory.
So, but let's jump into Tiffany and Charlotte.
All right, yeah, granddaughter versus grandmother.
Oh my God, a Jerry Springer episode. That was a great meme.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, guys in the back.
My boyfriend's cheating with my grandmother. Like,
right.
oh.
Uh, I
Gross.
personally think this was meant to be Charlotte's night. I don't think it is anymore. I think the
Oh,
way the scripts have gone, I mean, not the scripts, the promos have gone. I think the way the crowd is turned on her, um,
really?
I think Tiffany retains. Yeah, I personally think she was supposed to come back and win. I personally think she was supposed to be liked, still be the diamond, be the queen. But I don't think my personal opinion of how Flair is, and I've never met her personally, but I think Flair is probably a nice person who cares about what people think about her. She doesn't want to be a bad guy, but her character is highfalutin, like way up there, the best of the best, the diamond, the queen. And when you're a queen, you're supposed to have peasants. You're supposed to look down. You're supposed to be
Yeah.
above everyone.
He's a dick. Yeah.
Right. And I don't think she wants to be a hated queen. I think she wants to be Queen Elizabeth. Not Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth. Or
Yeah.
Princess Diana, essentially, who was
Uh,
going to be a queen. Like, actually loved.
Yeah.
You know, everyone loved Princess Diana. Like, she
Hmm.
wanted to be royalty of, that's a better way to put it, royalty of Diana's stature. She wants to be a loved queen, not a hated queen. And
Yeah.
I think the way the crowd has reacted has really hurt her, which is sad because, again, they're reacting to a character. But I think they see through her facade of being this overconfident, pompous queen, and then they latch on, they attack, and they actually hurt the real Charlotte, is what I think is
Okay.
happening. And I feel bad for that regard.
Yeah.
Because she is talented. She does work her ass off. I mean, everyone can say what they're allowed to say. I don't really care. I'm not a big Charlotte fan in the ring personally, but so I really think that's what was supposed to happen. She was supposed to come back, be the queen, but be liked, and go on and win the belt. And I think the way the promos have gone, it just isn't going to work out. And I think it's better that if Tiffany wins the belt, keeps the belt, and Charlotte goes on to maybe you bring back Becky, maybe you bring back something to bolster that a rivalry there somewhere. But I'm going Tiffany.
All right. Um, I'm going Charlotte.
Okay, you're gonna
Um,
double down.
I I don't want Charlotte to win. I want Tiffany to win. But with predicting what they're going to do, like I like your idea where they would switch. I I like that idea. I hope that's kind of the route they're going. Because I too saw it as like this is supposed to be Charlotte's night, like her comeback, like they just hand her the Royal Rumble and now they're gonna hand her WrestleMania. But God, it doesn't do your up and comers of the women's division any help to be just sticking it back on Charlotte Flair. And I'm worried that they're going to do that again. They're just gonna put it on her, make us fucking hate her.
Listen, if
I hope not,
if
but
they're if she is okay, if she is ready for the legitimate heat and backlash she's going to take, if she wants to lean into that, then do it. I hope you're right because she will become like Dominic level hatred, booing, dislike up there. I don't think anybody really disliked Dom. Maybe at first
yeah,
Dom wasn't liked because they felt like he couldn't wrestle.
she's gonna be the universe's most hated woman. Period.
Probably. And if
Bar
she's ready
none
to
at this
handle
point.
that, this is a good way to put her there. If you want a
Yeah.
strong wrestling women's heel, this will put her there. I agree 100%. But I don't want to see any superstar be put in a situation that they're not happy with. And she's better be willing to lean into it because this is where it needs to be. And like that's where it's going to go. It's going to get nasty probably.
This is going to be mega heat if she wins it.
Right.
I still feel like they're
I
gonna
just
put it on Charlotte.
hope she's good with it because if she's good with it, she has a chance to go down as one of the biggest heels in all of wrestling history at this rate. I mean, if she really
Yeah.
leans into it.
Yeah,
So
And I think you might be right. I think it is kind of hurting her because we do see that weird smirk on her face where she's trying to like smile and go with it, but it kind of almost looks like it's like stabbing her in the heart.
I don't know if she tripped up or if it was part of what she thought she was supposed to say, but the way the crowd worked against her 2 weeks ago, she called the Chicago crowd who was booing her and giving her a hard time some of the smartest people. Like I felt like she was set up a promo to like be a face, to be a good guy, to point out how great people are. And when they turned on her, she stumbled and tripped up and lost her track of where she is. She didn't pivot when she needed to pivot, and stayed with the whole idea of trying to get them back on her side, and it failed. And it looked like that hurt, actually physically hurt going through that for her. So
Yeah.
if you're right and and she does win, I hope that they've cleared it with her and I hope that she's good. But if she is, this is a hell of an opportunity for her to be just a massive, massive Hollywood Hogan, as he's on my screen, level heel when he turned to NWO. Like, I mean, I think it could be massive for her if she wants to handle it. I just don't know if she does.
Well, yeah, I just that one promo where she had to end with Tiffany rolling out of the ring and going like, "Is that why Kaiser's in my DMs?" That was epic levels of just flustered, and I gotta say something
They
back,
supposedly
like
both went off script.
like
Supposedly,
that,
I don't know nothing about that. I mean, I
like
wanted to know, but that's what
like
they say on Twitter.
at like her age and how she was getting perceived with all of that, like that was like such just garbage line coming from her to say like you're not gonna get a ooh out of that or anything. You're just gonna get like a thought of like you're pathetic. Like that was just
Well, she didn't know
ugh.
where to hit.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wasn't
it
as
certainly
easy.
wasn't that.
She had easier wounds to pick at. Hers are shown right off the bat because of her divorces and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was really easy for Tiff. But I don't know who went off script first. Don't know who said what they weren't supposed to say. I don't know. But in the battle, clearly Tiffany had easier wounds. She hit the wounds and won the battle, so to speak, on that one. So um,
Yeah.
just it's rough. Anyways, again, Charlotte has a chance to be an epic level heel if she wants it. I just make sure she's good before we do this to her.
Yeah.
That's all. For the sake of the person, let's make sure she's good before this happens to her.
Yeah.
All right, we're closing in. We wanted to go between. Well, we threw in a couple things. We didn't have time for anything else, but I want to keep these close to 30 minutes as the longest possible. So we got the main event. So we got to roll.
Okay.
So Seth, Roman, and Punk. What you got?
I'm I'm going with Seth. I'm kind of getting behind this theory that Paul Heyman being torn between Roman and CM Punk, where he eventually just picks Seth kind of out of the blue for a weird, um, just like a dramatic twist because he's already been alongside CM Punk helping him. He's already been alongside Roman Reigns helping him. It almost seems like it's like the wise man's turn to be backing Seth in a way and really kind of get him like working towards
Why?
getting one of the main titles because he just hasn't.
I
He's
agree.
been really great throughout the years, but recently I've really kind of seen him where he's a top star, but he's been kind of like stuck pigeonholed into like almost the enhancement talent of the top superstars
Kind of.
where yeah kind of it's where I see it where it almost like that he's that's been happening for a while now and that needs to change. Romans has time. CM Punk seems like he's mostly back here in the I want to have fun and be kind of like giving back in a way to the company. Okay, he's getting his main event at WrestleMania, which is kind of weird. it would have made more sense if he was actually going for one of the titles and not just in this weird 3-way feud.
Right.
But ultimately, I think it's going to be Seth. I think Paul Heyman's going to be moving on to help, like possibly back him. Could be totally wrong,
Well,
but a lot of people have been talking about that theory, and I'm liking the way it's going, and it makes a lot of sense to me.
I'm going to ask you this, and this
Okay.
is more of a psychology question, less so a wrestling or disagreeing with your opinion. I could totally understand if he decided to turn his back on the tribal chief because the tribal chief is giving him more attitude and pie faced him and all that other stuff. What has Punk done to hurt Heyman?
Pinning him against his tribal chief, putting him in a very awkward situation where it
The
ruins
choice
that,
of making him pick
where it
the
ruins
thing that made him pick, yeah.
his best friend is ruining his relationship with his tribal chief, where he's been, for the most part, safe. He's been in a protected zone. I mean, he has to kind of walk on eggshells not to make the tribal chief mad, but as long as he's been Roman's guy, he's been protected essentially.
Well, he was protected before that too by Brock. But
Yeah, well, that's another theory. If Brock comes back and just kills everyone and goes like, "I'm taking back my wise man,"
right. He just leaves with
yeah,
the wise man. Doesn't even care about any type of titles or anything. He's just, I just
yeah.
came for Heyman.
And he's like,
Um,
"He's mine again."
but I could see that. If I was CM Punk, I'd argue that since I've been here, I've defended you, and I've never put you in a position to get, banged up as my manager. But you could
Yeah,
argue the first factor, like you said, that he made him decide, and you could argue the second factor, which was, um, he left in the first place. It made Heyman shuffle to find a Roman or a Brock, anyways. So those are the two angles I see for why Heyman could leave Punk. But although that seems less obvious than Roman, Roman seems the obvious of why Heyman could be mad right now because Roman actually physically laid his hands on him. And I guess you could leave with Seth just to do it. I guess, yeah. So I just wanted to
mean,
add those to your points. I don't know if you want to keep going or not, but
to be, to be with the other two, it kind of like, just like this isn't even talking about who wins. It's just talking like who Heyman goes with. It just drags out this kind of like, oh, you betrayed me, all this. But if he goes over with Seth, that creates like a really big extra complication and drama to this whole thing, where it's just like he ultimately picked neither one of you and went with the outlier over here.
yeah, yeah. That's one of the ones where like the spouse is annoyed with the two options and just leaves.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean it could happen. I have Seth winning as well.
Okay.
I think this is a real tough one to determine. Everyone's got Seth as the heel turn. Well, not everyone. The people that don't have Jay as the heel turn has Seth as the heel turn. But I don't see
Oh
a
yeah,
point for it
yeah,
to happen tonight.
yeah.
I don't see how that's beneficial in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know if we're gonna get that payoff. Uh,
Yeah, him, uh,
I don't know.
reveal of him heel turning tonight doesn't make any sense at all because it
Right,
doesn't involve these two.
right. None of it involves those two, so it makes no sense. And how he would even get involved in tomorrow's match doesn't make any sense to me either yet. So I understand the idea that he could, and I was right there with the people that said that, Seth saying best for business is a big clue, and I'm right there. I agree
Yeah,
that it's
it's
probably
pretty.
him.
That's
But
why I would think him over Jay.
I just don't know how he gets worked in. I wonder if something happens throughout tonight's show to set up him being worked into tomorrow. I essentially have Seth winning for
Yeah.
the reasons of he's got to be Punk some point. He's just got to be Punk at some point. One,
Yeah, to
uh,
basically say, "I told you so. I could do it."
right, and this will make him ecstatic that he got Punk on the biggest stage, that he foiled
Oh
and
yeah,
kept
I
Punk
beat
from
you in
winning
your main event.
on his main event.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's an extra good point of
so
why.
I think that keeps that rolling. Roman, I think we'll have to do some soul searching, especially if the wise man picks anyone but him.
Yeah,
And I'm interested to see what they do with Roman going forward, honestly. Because
yeah,
I'm not really sure.
yeah. He's kind of just there at this point. Like he doesn't have his bloodline anymore. Even the opposite, the other bloodline, like that, they don't really have anything going on other than Fatu. Hopefully, is going to carry them and get a title tonight. It's kind of it. Like
He's got,
both bloodline scenarios look like the stories are kind of like dead in the water at this point.
well, we should wrap this up soon. But so The Rock came out that one time. This just hit me. I'm spitballing here. Going with
Okay.
Seth. I think Heyman probably does leave with Seth or with Punk. But I got a way out there in left field idea here first that I want to get to in a second.
Okay.
But Seth wins. He gets to hang that over Punk's head. For no other reason than that alone, I think Seth has a great chance of winning this match. But additionally, what if The Rock came out that one time, held up three fingers. Didn't say a word, just held up three fingers and then disappeared for months again. And we're all like, what? He put one finger down. He did the slice throat thing with the two for when Cena turned. So that seemed like, if we're playing his game, if we're playing detective here, we're down.
It could be that, or I got three options. Cody isn't one of them.
Well, Cody's out of his now. He chose not to. But hear me out on my theory.
Okay.
So you got two left because Cena was disciple one.
Okay.
Two more disciples. What if the swerve isn't that either Jay or Seth are turning, but that they're both turning? There's 1 and 2. And there's your team. Seth, Cena, and Jay. And they all turn. And here's the theory on why that would be the case. You could say that even Jay going for the title is so sick and tired of the part-timer Roman Reigns taking up the limelight. It's not even a world title match. And because he's in it, Jay doesn't get to main event WrestleMania. Jay is held back by all of this. And so he changes and joins The Rock to get his rightful place above these part-timers, this has-been, and then now Seth would be on team bad guy as well. And there's your three scenario. That's why Jay turns. It's because Jay turns because he's tired of playing second fiddle to Roman, and there's no way to get past it. Now, what that sets up, though, is Roman and Punk and Cody dealing with the three bad guys on the other side, essentially, Seth, Jay, and Cena.
I like your theory with that because
it's way out there, though. It's way out in left field.
But if they do that right and make it sound legitimate enough where Jay aligns with them, Jay maybe doesn't lose his red hot just fandom that he has right now. He might still be able to
he can still just do what he does, but he aligns with The Rock with the logic of, and no one could argue it because we're sitting here going, there are literally 1, 2, 3, 4 title matches on this damn card out of 7 matches, and because Roman and Punk are in this match, Jey Uso has to take that biggest match of the year. Let's face it. He's like you said, he's the hottest superstar of the year against the most dominant champion, you could argue, outside of Cody, but he's up there, most dominant champion. They've seen it a long time in Gunther, and it's a mid-card match potentially. It's not even because he can't get out of the shadow of the part-timer, as they put it, Roman Reigns. He cannot even main event when he should be main eventing because it's the world title match. I don't think anybody could argue. The crowd would sit there and go, he's got a point. Like, he's still technically a bad guy because The Rock's a bad guy, the final boss, blah, blah, blah. But he's right. He's got a point.
Yeah, in a way, I'd almost seem like, okay, he joined the faction, but he's not quite the bad guy. And once the faction needs to kind of dissolve, he might be the first one out, being technically the good guy that's in there, but he's only joining The Rock to basically smite Roman, which he's already had plenty of drama with.
Seth could sit there and be righteous as well because he's right. He's wrestled every match. And to your point with talent enhancement, what he actually was kind of being was the gatekeeper. New guys would come in, they'd put matches on with Seth that not only just put him over, but like if you couldn't hang in the ring with Seth, then they knew you couldn't be a top guy. So he was the gatekeeper back into the WWE. That's who Cody wrestled first, for crying out loud. His return match was against Seth. And that's how Seth was used. He was the gatekeeper. Roman got to be the top dog forever, and he had to be the gatekeeper even though he was the full-timer. 100% could see how they work. Seth, Jay, and Cena all under that faction, all with legitimate gripes on the same team.
Just hopefully those other two wouldn't get the Cena stank put on where they're booed instantly.
I don't know. Listen, that could be one of those situations where the faction starts off as bad, but grows to be loved as a heel organization. You're still going to get people chanting for Roman and acknowledging him and loving Punk. That's not going to change. But I think you could really build a faction with those three where people just have to admit they have a point.
Yeah.
And you get some of that. So.
Yeah. Well.
And then you could put the belt on Roman or Punk down the road.
Yeah.
And that would be a massive match down the road. Whoever Cena wants to wrestle for that. Hell, you give a pay-per-view where Roman and Punk both wins belts and they completely demolish the whole thing. You know, Punk could beat Cena and Roman could beat his cousin and both walk away with belts and be on top of the world again.
Get the belts off of the Rock's stable and Cena goes away because it's the end of his year.
Mm-hmm.
Or
and
Cena turns on them to have them lose their belts, becoming, like super good guy Cena again.
Yep.
And goes into retirement.
Yep. He could still be the bad guy technically in the match, but somewhere in the match, The Rock says to cheat or does this, or someone slides in and, Cena, instead of taking the help, hits the AA on them instead and chooses he's going to do it the right way and loses and then gets up and shakes the hands. It takes a handshake at the end of the match to the person who beats him to put him back on the good guy side. It ain't going to take much to send him back.
Not really.
So,
because the fans want to love him.
Right. And it'll be his last thing he does. And, if that's the last thing he does is pass the belt back to whichever star it is at the time, he'll be known as the guy who put said person over, actually gave the belt up his last match, actually did everything the right way for his entire career.
Yeah.
So, okay. But in terms of what I think is actually going to happen, I think Seth wins.
Same here.
That's just my way out there scenario. We've gone about 15 minutes over what I wanted to, so we're going to end this up unless there's anything else you want to add, Ben?
No, that was it. I was trying to get, before you add those few other caveats,
that hit me as I was talking. I'm like, we have no other chance to throw that in there.
I was trying to go like, so if that's it, I guess we should wrap this up to try to keep it short. And you're just like, I have more ideas.
I have one more idea. It's way out there, but I didn't know any other point I could put it in later on. So,
yeah.
All right.
Let's wrap it up.
Yep. I got to throw this up on YouTube. So it's dated before it happens in case that crazy scenario works out. I'd be like, aha, I'm a genius.
Oh, yeah. You're working with Miss Cleo again, predicting the future. God, that was wild.
But, All right. It's been fun. We're going to probably do another one for tomorrow earlier. Maybe not as rushed,
Yep.
but still short. Probably shorter than this one.
Hopefully.
Uh, for
Depends how
tomorrow's.
crazy night one goes.
That could be a big factor in it for sure.
Yeah.
But I got to clean up a whole bunch of cards on the floor and get something to eat. So that's going to call it. Let's go all enjoy WrestleMania Night 1. It's going to be fun.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.